Breaking news coming in after Akhilesh Yadav was stopped at the Lucknow airport. Samajwadi Party workers took to the streets in Prayagraj and Lucknow in protest. Cops had to resort to lathi charge in Prayagraj to stop the protesters in Lucknow. Protesters surrounded the governor's house. The Samajwadi Party chief was on his way to the Allahabad University when he was stopped by the police at the VVIP lounge in the airport itself. Those are the visuals there coming in of the protests that broke out in response to Akhilesh Yadav being stopped at the airport. Both cops, in fact, opened lathi charge in Prayagraj, and protests broke out both in Prayagraj as well as in Lucknow. In Lucknow, as in fact, protesters surrounded the governor's house, and this happened when the Samajwadi Party chief was on his way to the Allahabad University. He was stopped by the police at the VVIP lounge in the airport, and the protests that have now broken out, the visuals of which are on your screen, was in response to that. You can see the police having to. All right, let's in fact go across to Amir joining us. Amir, if you can tell us what's happening at this point in time as far as protests in both these areas are concerned.
Well, it all started this morning when Akhilesh Yadav, the Samajwadi Party chief, was denied permission to take off from state capital Lucknow towards Prayagraj, where he was going to attend a function, an event that was organized around the oath-taking ceremony of the Students' Union, the newly elected Students' Union of Allahabad University. Now, the detail is that it was the Samajwadi Party Chhatra Sabha which bagged the maximum number of seats there in the recently held Students' Union elections on the Allahabad University campus, which was why Akhilesh Yadav was invited there to attend the ceremony and wish the students over there. This perhaps did not go down well with the BJP government, which actually cited law and order problems and the fact that perhaps Akhilesh Yadav's visit could have spurred violence there on the university, because there were several warring groups of students who were protesting against each other already on the Allahabad University campus and elsewhere in Prayagraj. So the government cited that since a huge program of Kumbh was already being organized there in Allahabad, in Prayagraj, and therefore they couldn't take chances with Akhilesh Yadav's visit over there, throwing the law and order there in the city out of gear, and therefore he was denied permission to take off from here, and that prompted most of the protests that is happening there in Prayagraj, close to the university. These are visuals from the Balsan Choraha of the Prayagraj city, wherein the Samajwadi Party workers and several senior leaders also clashed with the police, which was trying to stop them in their protest, which was why stone pelting also perhaps took place, wherein students and workers of Samajwadi Party indulged in stone pelting towards the police and members of the administration, and the administration police responded by doing a heavy lathi charge on all such protesting leaders and workers over there. So that caused most of the melee, but then this has become almost a kind of a political point before the 2019 elections for the Samajwadi Party, and the Samajwadi Party seems to have jumped to the opportunity wherein they are organizing protests across the state in different districts, and also here in state capital Lucknow, wherein several leaders of the Samajwadi Party, after the press conference that was conducted by their leaders, they reached the Raj Bhavan as well to complain against the kind of high-handed attitude of the government, as they call it, in terms of denying permission to Akhilesh Yadav to land there in Prayagraj. So, politicking at its best taking place. Mayawati, the BSP chief, now an ally of the Samajwadi Party for the coming elections, she has also come out and slammed the Yogi government for its draconian step in terms of denying permission to Akhilesh Yadav, and they've come out in open support of the Samajwadi Party in the kind of protests that they are holding across the state now.
Right, and Amir, as far as these protests are concerned, at this point in time, are the protests still going on?
Well, yes, the protests are still going on in Allahabad. There was recently, just a few minutes back, there was a second round of protests that started, and second round of lathi charge and stone pelting that took place over there. For now, it seems to have been contained, but yes, sporadic incidents of clashes between Samajwadi Party workers and protesters and police is being reported from across the state. In fact, even in state capital Lucknow, as we speak, there are several groups of Samajwadi Party leaders as well as workers who are shouting slogans, going in groups close to the Samajwadi Party office. And protests are definitely going to happen throughout the day, we believe.
All right. Thanks, Amir, for getting us all those details. We'll, of course, continue to come back to you as and when more information emerges as far as these protests are concerned. All right, Ghanshyam Tiwari joining us on the phone line. Thank you, Ghanshyam Tiwari, for joining us. Your reaction to the fact that this kind of massive protests being carried out?
It shows a government that does not believe in democracy, does not understand the language of democracy, and they have to resort to lathi charge. And the chief minister has to come and give petty excuses of why an ex-chief minister who has not a single track record of disturbing public peace. Akhilesh Yadav has stood up as a member of parliament, as a chief minister, and as a leader in opposition, always standing up for social harmony, always for inspiring people with a vision. And then the chief minister, who has his own track record of hate, which became his ladder to politics, comes out and gives petty reasons, does not show what is the justification why the ex-PM cannot speak at a university or cannot be present at a university event where he was invited by the Students' Union, shows pettiness of politics. And BJP will face the public anger for this kind of petty politics. They lathi charged a member of parliament is a shameful act.
All right. Thanks, Ghanshyam Tiwari, for joining us with your perspective.